President Biden confirming that he will nominate the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court. But a source is now claiming that the potential list is not limited to 3 nominees. It also includes other judges that Biden once placed on lower courts, civil rights attorneys, and even a professor at NYU. But before a nominee is announced, how does the process actually work? In January, Vanessa Gilmore stepped down from the federal court in Houston, Texas. When she was offered that lifetime position by then-President Bill Clinton back in 1994, she was the youngest person to accept. So let's talk about vetting with Judge Vanessa Gilmore. And in full disclosure, by the way, she is one of my wife's best friends, so I also have to point that out. But Judge V, let's talk about vetting. When you accepted the nomination back in 1994, you know that investigative reporters like me were turning over every rock trying to find that nugget that would deem you unfit to serve. So what is it like when you realize the FBI is looking at your entire past and contacting everyone that you ever knew?
Well, if you're a nerd like I was, it's not that bad. But it is a little bit disconcerting because I recall one of the things that happened to me was that the FBI went to my neighbors and asked them to write down the license plate number of every car that spent the night at my house. Which can be kind of troubling in some ways. One of the things that happened to me, they actually ended up turning up a parking ticket from the University of Houston for an expired parking meter from 1981. It was so old, I didn't even remember anything about it. But of course, they called me and asked me to take care of that right away. So when I say they look under every rock, they look under every rock.
I didn't even know it was that bad, to tell you the truth. Speak to this issue of affirmative action. How tough was it to get to the point where you were even picked, let alone as an African-American female in a world that, let's be realistic, was dominated by old white men?
I think that the words affirmative action and qualification for positions such as the federal district court or the Supreme Court have no place with each other. The people that are under consideration now for the Supreme Court, myself when I was under consideration for the district court, are people that really are at the pinnacle of their careers. They are well thought of in the community. They have a strong and long track record of work that makes them particularly suited for this job. There is not anybody who is getting an opportunity just because of their race or just because of their sex. If you are not able and willing to do this particular job, it is not something that you're even going to be remotely considered for.
As you know, my sister teaches law at the University of Texas, and we have talked about this. I've talked about this with you. Most of us in our generation went to school on academic scholarships. Going to law school was expensive. Going to a top law school was even more prohibitive than that. How difficult was it even to rise up through the ranks? You must be rooting for Michelle Childs in South Carolina because she did go to an HBCU. You're a Hampton grad. I'll point that out for our audience as well. How tough is it to make it in the world of law, the legal profession, when you're not coming from an Ivy League background?
You know, frankly, I'm a very proud graduate of an HBCU, Hampton University. And I think that HBCUs are often the hidden gems in the higher education system. It is a place where we are nurtured, where we are supported, and where we are very well educated. I think that I know Michelle Childs personally. She is a phenomenal jurist. I would think that she would have everything that she needs to be able to do well in this position. There is nothing about her educational background that makes her unqualified or less qualified than anybody else that's under consideration. I understand and know that eight of the current Supreme Court justices went to the Ivy League schools, but of the numerous 8 or 9 candidates that are being under consideration right now, 6 of them attended Harvard, Yale, or both schools. And so they fit in the mold of what we traditionally look for in Supreme Court candidates.
Did it make a difference when you were on the bench, knowing how many Ivy Leaguers there were out there?
Not at all. Not at all. Anybody who is confirmed to a district court bench is well qualified to do that job. There's not really any discussion about your pedigree or where you came from or what school you attended once you are there. The only thing that the lawyers care about is whether or not you can do the work.
And Vanessa, because we have known each other for so long, I'll ask the audio engineer to crank down the audio. You can whisper in my ear. No one will be listening. Who has the inside track to become the nation's first African-American female justice?
I don't know personally, but if I were to guess, it would be narrowed down to two, I would think. First of all, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson was a Supreme Court law clerk. She was Justice Breyer's law clerk. I think that it's no secret that they have a very close relationship, enjoy a very close relationship, and she would be particularly well suited to be able to attain that position because she just went through the confirmation process for the DC Court of Appeals 1 year ago. That means that it wouldn't be starting all over again for the process for her because she's just gone through it. She's just had a confirmation hearing, and that would make her well suited to be able to go quickly into this new confirmation process. But then, of course, Michelle Childs is from South Carolina, and she has a strong advocate in Congressman Clyburn, and he has already hinted that he has the support of the two Republican senators from his state. So that could have a big influence in terms of her ability to get there. But in terms of the background of the people that are currently under consideration, most of them have Ivy League backgrounds. Generally speaking, Supreme Court justices come from a Court of Appeals. 8 of the 9 current justices came from the Court of Appeals. 3 of the women under consideration now are on U.S. Courts of Appeals, Ketanji Brown Jackson in the D.C. Court of Appeals, and then also 2 other judges from the 7th and 2nd Circuit Courts of Appeals. And so they would be suited just based on that. But I think that it's anybody's guess at this point in time. But if I had to put my money on it, I'd say Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Judge Gilmore, Vanessa, thanks for being with us. And by the way, Robin says hey. And also she says, please pay that parking ticket in Houston. Retired Judge Vanessa Gilmore. Vanessa, thanks.